I have no idea what I'm doing at all. But when do I ever is really the question here. Yes, it's me. I'm back. Hello. I'm tired today. Welcome to spooky season. I sound drunk, but I'm literally not. I have so much water right now inside of me, and I'm just so tired. Let's do this, shall we? Today, we are doing something a little different. I felt like, because it's fall, it's not fall yet, but it's gonna be fall, and I'm celebrating Halloween / fall early, as I usually do. So I wanted to give my reading list / suggestions on what to read this spooky time of year, aka Amber's spooky reading list / autumn reading list. Not everything on this list is spooky. It just has some it's vaguely related / it gives me fall feelings. Without further ado, let's just get started. First up, we have Over the Garden Wall. Surprise! This is volume 1 of the series. There's also the Over the Garden Wall just comic that's supposed to come right after the show. I don't have that. I plan to buy that at some point, but for now we have volume 1 of, or issue 1, yeah, volume 1 of the comic series. It's a lot of fun. As you know, if you know about Over the Garden Wall, it takes place in the unknown, has a lot of spooks, has a lot of autumn themes and winter themes, and there's just a bunch of little stories in here, different ones, and if that strikes your fancy, would highly recommend it. Just a lot of fun. Next up we have Garbage Night by Jen Lee. This one is not necessarily spooky. This one is more autumn themed. This is an apocalyptic world where animals are left behind. There are no humans. They take on the characteristics of people, and their food is running out. So they are trying to find the good places to scavenge for more food, and the main characters are Simon, who is a dog, his friends who are a raccoon and deer. What's their names? Reynard is the deer, I think, and I want to say Cliff is the name of the raccoon. Oh yeah, no, it is Cliff. So it's just it has a very, it's post-apocalyptic, but doesn't feel like the world ending kind of thing. It's just very solitary, fall-like, kind of feels a little creepy, but is not. So would I recommend it? Absolutely. Jen Lee's art style is beautiful. It's a No-Brow published book. I usually trust things by No-Brow. If you're gonna get an autumn-based one, Garbage Night would be your go-to. Next up is Bags, or a Story Thereof, by Patrick McHale, and if you don't know who that is, Patrick McHale is the person who came up with the concept for Over the Garden Wall. So this story is not necessarily in the style of Over the Garden Wall, but it is by McHale, so you're in good hands. I have not actually read this one yet. This is on my reading list. It is kind of creepy, as in it has, what does it say? This is the tale of John Motts. He is a man who had a dog, but now that dog is gone. John scours his house, his street, and his town, but his dog Beth is nowhere to be found. John soon realizes that he must travel further, past the road and into the trees, if he is ever to find out the truth of what happened to Beth. So yes, kind of creepy. I think it has to do with a demon. Just by the looks of the cover alone, you would have to think that. It has a very otherworldly vibe. Just the way it's printed, the art style alone, very pretty, very earthy, and yeah, it has the devil in it. Very spooky. So what I would absolutely say that I'm gonna give this a read later, and I definitely would recommend that anybody else does too. So it's gonna be on my spooky later list. Yes. This is a zine called In the White. It is a Wendigo story by, what's his name? Jake Troschel. It's Troxell, which is interesting. So it is a Canadian-based artist. It's from a Canadian-based artist. Like I said, it's a Wendigo story. Basically, it's this main character who gets lost in Quebec. Oh yeah, it's translated from the original French for your reading convenience. Very weird, sketchy, creepy art style. Kind of, to me, although I don't think it is, it feels to me like, you know those linoleum blocks that you put like stamps on? It kind of feels like that, except in digital art. So it's just very messy feeling. Already gives you kind of a creepy vibe when you go in. And if you don't know anything about Wendigos, I would definitely tell you to do some research, because there's some creepy Native American First Nations lore. I believe Wendigo, give me a second. Oh yeah, the Algonquin tribes, based in the northern forests of Nova Scotia, the east coast of Canada, the Great Lakes region of Canada, and in Wisconsin. So basically a northern-based monster that are basically created by starved or desperate people, often cornered and alone, and are driven to do terrible things and often prey upon those who are left behind, or prey on those who are also desperate and will devour them one by one to a certain degree. A lot of times they're depicted like deer, but I've heard that that's not what the true image of a Wendigo is supposed to look like. The translation for some of them is like owl, like they're supposed to look more owl-like, but really there's no given answer as to what they actually are. So if you're interested in Wendigo kind of stuff, I would say read this. It's on Etsy. I think it was like, what, $7. Oh, I've already talked about this technically, but next up we have Beneath the Dead Oak Tree by Emily Carroll. I've talked at length about Emily Carroll in my When I Arrived at the Castle. This book is about a woman who goes to a ball and she tries to seduce this nobleman who she knows that takes other women with him to this dead oak tree and basically kills them. Like he assaults them and then kills them and eats them, kills them, buries them, and so she plans to take revenge in a very gruesome way. So it's a very fun Victorian horror style comic. Emily Carroll's really known for her stuff like that. I would absolutely recommend buying this. It's fairly short, but the art style itself is so gorgeous. I absolutely recommend anybody owning anything by Emily Carroll. So I really like this little edition, and I like to read it when it gets spooky out, which is always. Next up is The New Ghost by Robert Hunter. I was recommended this by Kick the PJ, who I adore and love greatly, but The New Ghost is in here because it's about ghosts, kind of, sort of. It's kind of a, how do I put this? An interesting look at ghosts perceiving the world. Kind of, you'd have to read it, but it's very spiritual and beautiful and haunting, and I don't know what else to call it other than that, because I just find ghost stories interesting, and it's not technically a ghost story, but it is. I don't know. Read it or don't. The worst at this kind of stuff. But I would absolutely recommend Robert Hunt, or I have his, what other book was it? Map of Days. His art style is just really fun. It is fun to interpret his works. So if you want to give that a look at, I totally recommend it, and I think you will enjoy. Ooh, Joe Sparrow's The Hunter. This one I chose. This style is very 16-bit video game looking, like on the page, and I was very struck by that. I like how it looks. It's very fun. Joe Sparrow's work is really cool, and I appreciate it. And it's about a earl who boasts about killing every creature he comes across, and he calls it like a victory. He hangs them up on his wall. He tries to always find new beasts to kill so he can show them off to his friends. And he had basically caught everything, which was starting to frustrate him because he had nothing else really to do. So now that he has everything that he was looking for, he finds he has nothing else of worth to say. So he tries to remedy this by finding more creatures to slay, and in turn finds himself being chased by some creatures. So very creepy, very fall. Well, it's more winter. It's more winter-like, but you can be creepy in the winter. Spooky, scary winter time. But yes, I absolutely recommend The Hunter. It's a very fun little read. Also a small little no-brow, like the new Ghost by Robot Hunter. They're called no-brow 11 by 17s. They're pretty cheap. They're like $5 each. Oh, 17 by 23s. Yeah, 17 by 23s is a short story project. It's a graphic short story project designed to help talented young graphic novelists tell their stories in a manageable and economic format. The hope is that while the series encourages artists to write one-off stories, 17 by 23 can act as a springboard for more ambitious projects, which I don't know if they still do it. I presume they do, but I always appreciate these little things. Yes. Now this is a series I haven't finished yet. I do kind of like this one, and I need to finish it once this person posts more of them up on their Etsy, because they have like 6 books of this. It's a series called Mephistos by Nani Bim? Not Nani Bim. I'm sorry. They are an awesome illustrator based in the UK. Originally, I think they're from like, I want to say Japan, but I don't think that's correct. Maybe the Philippines. I don't know. I don't remember. It's on their Twitter and I don't recall, but this little series is about a demon named Mephistos. Shocker that. It's called the Here Be Demons series. So there's like 6 volumes published. I think they have it published online. And I don't exactly remember a lot about this because I read it a year ago and I haven't finished it. So I may have to put this on my reading list, but I do remember liking it. I would put it along the same vein as Blue Exorcist, if you know that manga series. I love Blue Exorcist. The main dude, Mephistos, is very dorky, white-haired demon who lives next door to this woman, and they get up to hijinks of certain sorts. So I definitely will have to read this again. I found it kind of funny and cute. I just like the really sketchy art style. I'll put it up on screen, but their art style in at least the first couple is very sketchy and very fun. And I would recommend it. Demons are good for, Halloween. Fun fact, they're good for Halloween. Yes! Manga. The Ancient Magus' Bride is one of my favorite fantasy-based magic in the UK kind of stories, manga, that I've ever laid my eyes upon. It is about a girl named Chise Hattori. She's Japanese. She basically can see spirits, and these spirits can harm her and harm the people around her and basically have given her a hard life. So suicidal because she basically has nobody and nothing left to live for. She sells herself on the black market as a slave and to like this magical black market. And this wizard, this very weird mystical wizard from the UK buys her, brings her back, takes her on as an apprentice because she has a lot of power, which is why these spirits have been attracted to her, and tells her that, we're gonna be wed, we're gonna be husband and wife. And I think she's like 16 at the time, but he doesn't marry her then. He's gonna wait for a while. And also he's like a really old creature. Basically all I have to say is that this story, it's got up to like a volume 11. I don't know if they're on hiatus. We'll find out. I'll find out later. Very detailed, very good storytelling for sure. Lots of Celtic inspired fantasy, So you'll get like King Oberyn and Queen Titiana and the Fae and all of that other good stuff. So if you're interested in things like this, I would absolutely recommend you read this. I know some people were not fond of Chiapet in the beginning because she's very clingy to Elias. Elias is the mage, but her character development is fantastic. And I will say is that she's not like that for long. So if you're interested in a character who has really good personal growth, would recommend this. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. This is on my reading list. I've never actually officially read it. I watched the movie back when it came out. The movie was fine. I enjoyed the movie because it was very campy. So there's that for you. But Pride and Prejudice and Zombies is a Jane Austen. It's originally based off of Pride and Prejudice, but with a twist by Seth Grahame-Smith. And all I know is that Pride and Prejudice and Zombies is, you know, a zombie apocalypse mixed in with Victorian times. And that intrigues me to no end. And I found this book at Half Price Books, so I loved the cover, and now I have to read it because it's beautiful. And also, I love Jane Austen. I read a lot of Jane Austen when I was younger. Find her very funny. Find her a very good writer, as if she's still alive. Have you heard of Jane Austen? The Girl from the Other Side, Sul la Rune. I can never speak Gaelic or anything Celtic related. I want to say it's the same as like that song, Sul la Rune it's an Irish song. It's Go On My Love, or Away From Me My Love, or something along those lines, but it doesn't have the I in it, so I don't think it's the same thing. Either way, it's called The Girl from the Other Side. I have not read this yet. I've had this for a while, haven't read it yet. Shame. But it is another Celtic manga, very sketchy looking, along the same vein of Over the Garden Wall. No, The Ancient Magus' Bride, but except I don't think they take this girl on as a bride. She's much younger, and this dude, I think, is her protector. But yeah, okay, let's read the back so we can see. It says, once upon a time in a land far away where there were two kingdoms, the outside where twisted beasts roam that could curse with a touch, and the inside where humans lived in safety and peace. The girl and the beast should never have met, but they do. A quiet fairy tale begins. But when they do, a quiet fairy tale begins. I can't read. This is a story of two people, one human and one inhuman, who linger in the hazy twilight that separates night from day. So yes, another Celtic-based creepy story. I'm very excited to read this. I don't know why I haven't read it to begin with. I've had it on my shelf forever. I had the first two volumes. And I've always wanted to get the others, but I'm like, I haven't read it yet, so I shouldn't just go off getting things that I haven't read yet, because what if I don't like it? But that's on my reading list for this fall. Okay, so next up we have Junji Ito, and I have 4 different books. So I'm just gonna do these 4 different books at the same time. Give me a second. Oh! So I have No Longer Human, Shiver, which is a collection of horror stories, Fragments of Horror, another collection of horror stories, and Uzumaki. I've read Uzumaki, very creepy. Basically think evil spirals. Spirals are taking over the world. This one has, I forget which one has in it, because there's so many short stories. This one would have, oh shit, I haven't seen this one in a while. Oh yeah, it has the short stories like Futon, Wooden Spirit, Blackbird, Whispering Woman, and Dissection John. It's been a while since I've read this, so this might as well go on my reading list. Very beautiful work on the front cover, and if you put it in the light, you can see like different images and stuff. So definitely recommend anything by Junji Ito. I don't know if anybody has not read anything by Junji Ito, but if you haven't, I would get on it. Shiver has, which ones? Hanging Blimp, which is a classic actually. Greased, ooh, that one's scary. That one's disgusting. The Long Dream and The Painter. That's not all of them that are in there, but yeah, I would recommend this one as well. I have not read this one though, so this is also on my reading list. No Longer Human is an adaptation by the novel, the original novel by Osamu Dazai? I'm sorry. So this one is supposed to be about a guy who is very suicidal to begin with because of his past, and I think the guy who wrote the book committed suicide, so that makes it equally more tragic. But this story is also just interesting to me, so I still have to check it out this fall. So Junji Ito is a must on this list. The creeps. Deep Dark Fears collection. This is the only Deep Dark Fears collection book I own. I picked this up when I was in Louisville, and it's by, Fran Kraus. If you've never seen any of Fran Kraus's works on Tumblr back in the day, or Twitter, or whatever website you trolled on like a teenager you are, I would recommend it. They are like watercolor mini comics of people's fears that they would submit online. For example, fear number 1, when I read by myself, I read out loud in case there are any curious ghosts or spirits nearby. And it's just like this girl reading to ghosts and spirits. And I love it. I think it's really fun. It's a little bit creepy in some of them, and some of them are just kind of fun and lighthearted. But very much in the vein of fall, and I would absolutely recommend reading this. This is a new one. This one I came across by accident on Twitter. It's called Fangs by Sarah Anderson. First of all, this cover is beautiful. It's gorgeous, and the pages are black stained on the outside. This is a compilation of comics about a couple made up of a vampire woman and a werewolf man, and it's kind of a loose story of how they met. And how their relationship goes, and you get to see little snippets here or there of like their past, but also just how they interact in general. It's kind of sweet. It is also a little unsettling at times, but if you know Sarah Anderson, she does her like little blobby comic strips. I'll put one up on the screen. I don't remember exactly. I don't read too much from her stuff, but I saw this and I had to get it because it looked really fun, and it's a lot of fun. It's not too creepy, but it's very spooky season feeling. Spooky season approved. Would absolutely recommend that you pick this up. It came out like September 1st, so absolutely recommend this one. Yes! Skullface bookseller Honda-san. The only reason I picked this in here is because this one has a Skullface person in it. It is about a bookseller named Honda-san, and he has a skull face, and he gets up to all kinds of shenanigans. Really fun art style, really pretty. Just, I would overall recommend people pick this up and read it. Very fun. There's a lot to go through on this one, but would absolutely recommend just it to get up to all kinds of mischief and mayhem. So do with that as you will. Witch Hat Altair. Have not read this one yet either. I picked this up because, first of all, it's a magic based one. But also, it looks like woodblock / regular manga style. So if you remember how Attack on Titan's style looks, this is kind of what it reminds me of. Except it looks like a medieval artist came, saw a manga drawing, and said, I want to draw like that. And that's how you get this. So, very interesting. It says on the back, meet young Coco, curious and bright, and desperate to learn how magic's wrought, but witches keep their hidden secret tight, and witches, Coco knows, are born, not taught. Then one day Coco spies upon a witch, and as he prepares the charms for which she yearns, and sees that, like her skill with the thread and stitch, the truth is, magic's something she can learn. Now with this knowledge, Coco starts to try to teach herself the witch's way with charms, and yet her aspirations go awry, as Coco's magic causes grievous harm. To set things right, young Coco leaves her home, and so begins this tale within this tome. So basically, I'm just very interested in how that sounds, and yeah, no, I'm looking forward to reading this. This sounds really fun. One left. And of course, we have to wrap it up with the one that started my whole comic collection, and one that just really got me obsessed with Emily Carroll. It's Emily Carroll's Through the Woods. what can I say about this? This is like a collection of many of her creepy stories. So it's got, which ones? Some of these are on her website you can read, but I would recommend buying the book. It's fantastic. I bought this back in like 2015 and I do not regret it. It's got A Lady's Hands Are Cold, which freaks me out to this day. All his face all red. And My Friend Jana. Oh yeah, that one's creepy too. Yeah, I would recommend it. Her art style goes between Victorian to modern day, and it's so terrifying, some of these. The ladies, the ones with the hands in the trees. What one was that called again? Oh yeah, A Lady's Hands Are Cold. That one is petrifying. I couldn't sleep after reading it. And I don't say that much about horror stories that I read. So if you're looking for something that will make you scared to go to sleep at night, some of these will absolutely do so. So yeah, I recommend anything by Emily Carroll mostly. I'm an Emily Carroll stan. What can I say? Yeah, that pretty much wraps up my book collection for fall. I basically yanked everything I could find on my shelves. As you can see, a lot of them are kind of empty-ish, and everything is falling over, so I have to rearrange everything. But yeah, that's all I got for you. I may do what to watch this fall. I got a couple things that would probably be good, or at least kind of spooky, horror themed. I don't know, something along those lines. But yeah, I hope you liked this list. I may do some more again soon. Do some themed based ones, because I have a lot of books that I read or I should read, and yeah, so there's that. Let me know what you think about this video. If you like this kind of video, leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more fun videos like this. And thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you have a great evening time, whatever time. Today, right now is evening for me, but you know, whatever time you're watching this. I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're staying well. I hope you're staying away from COVID. I hope you are hydrating yourself. I think I already said that. I hope you've planned to vote in November, and I will see you guys soon. Yeah. Hope to have a Bee and Puppy Cat video up soon. I'm still working on it. I'm writing a script. That video is going a lot longer than I thought it would be. So just bear with me on that. Yeah. Anyway, talk to y'all later. Bye.